Nearly half of unhoused people in America are employed. They have fucking jobs. And yet they're homeless. That's how insane the US economy is. That's the level of lunacy that goes on in this capitalist exploitative machine. Contrary to, and it also destroys the argument that, idiots like to use, which is, well, if they want to live on the tree, get a job. Why don't they get a job, losers? Get a job. Well, a lot of them have jobs. So there's that. Contrary to popular belief, many people who experience homelessness are employed. Julia Hagedwan reported for the National Alliance to End Homelessness in September 2022. 53% of the sheltered unhoused population and 40% of the unsheltered unhoused population were employed either part-time or full-time from 2011 to 2018. According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition, one would need to make approximately $21 per hour to afford a one-bedroom apartment. The average per hour you'd have to make is $21, which is way higher than a lot of people. In order to afford an apartment, $21 an hour, one-bedroom apartment. Even if people are working full-time, they would not be able to afford housing earning minimum wage. Job applicants may face obstacles such as, this is another important point I've made many times in the past, about why don't these people get better jobs? Well, you know how difficult it is to get a good job when you're homeless, when you're coming from homelessness? Nearly impossible. The article says job applicants face many obstacles, such as employers requiring a permanent address. So you walk in and say, I live under the bridge, and they say goodbye. Logistical hurdles for transportation and personal hygiene. And the personal hygiene thing is, I know it's like, well, they should fucking be cleaner. No, it's more complicated than that. If you're homeless, you don't have quick and easy access to a shower, quick and easy access to soap, quick and easy access, even if you have those things, quick and easy access to nicer clothes. And I don't even mean a suit. Most people go to job interviews not in a suit. Although the guy who gets it might show up in a suit, gets the job. But just nice, clean clothes. There's a big difference in your odds of getting a job, even as like a stock boy at a grocery store, if you show up in dirty, nasty jeans versus clean jeans. Big difference. So all of those things. Then it continues, needing accommodations for disabilities and general hiring challenges. They're also not mentioning that something like half of all of homeless across America have a mental illness. So maybe they've had jobs and they can't hold a job because of their mental illness. That including educational requirements. So yeah, a lot of jobs ask you where you went to college, ask you where you went to high school. Maybe they didn't do those things. Oh my God. Well, clearly, if they didn't go to college, they should be made into a victim their entire life. They should just be churned up and dropped under a bridge somewhere because they had the nerve to not go to college. Furthermore, unhoused people may lose access to vital social services if they exceed low-income thresholds. And that's another important point, that there's a lot of people who are low income, who get some tiny little bit of safety net that this country has left, and they don't want to exceed a certain amount of income because they'll lose their health care. If you've got Medicare and you exceed a certain amount of income, then all of a sudden you have no health care and you're asked to pay hundreds of dollars. I almost lived in New York State. We were thinking about living there last whatever it was, I don't know, March or something. And we looked at healthcare options because I'm a freelancer, right? I don't work for any corporations or anything. Healthcare options, and me and my partner and the kid would have been the lowest one, the cheapest one, the shittiest coverage that was on the marketplace was $1,700 a month. That's the lowest. Was like a rent for a cheap apartment. $1,700 a month for healthcare. And luckily we didn't end up living in New York State, but that is catastrophic to most people. That's ridiculous. And you wonder why people are struggling in America, why people don't seem to be moving up in the ladder, while people, 64% of Americans or something like that, don't know where their, you know, income is going to, or living paycheck to paycheck, don't know where their next meal is going to come from if they were to lose their job. Um, anyway, what else to say? Let's see here. An economic roundtable study found that fast food workers represent 1 in 17 of homeless people in California. 1 out of every 17 homeless people in California work at your McDonald's or Wendy's or one of these restaurants. How crazy is it to have a full-time job and you're homeless? Like, that is our system. And so to dig deeper here, I like to talk about the multiple levels of reality. To dig deeper here, there is, like, this is how the system works. It exploits people to no end. This is how the system, you don't just get angry at McDonald's for being shitheads. I mean, they are. And there's lots of wage stuff that goes on as well. But it is a system. It is the gravitational pull of the market economic system. Market economics will always draw us to a worse and worse situation until more and more people are struggling and aching and pained every single day of their lives in their existence. And many of them are homeless, working regularly at a job. And we act like homelessness is, it's just the losers of society. They aren't trying. Many of them have jobs, and many of them are mentally ill. Like, many of them are severely mentally ill. And what you're like, why don't you go get a CEO job? Why don't you go working, as the genius at the Genius Bar at the Apple Store or whatever they're called? It's just stupidity, the arguments people give for why this system should even exist like this.